Hey Deckers, it's Liam here, I'm back again. Now you likely saw recently that Overwatch 2 actually got a Steam release, which thankfully does not need Battle.net, making it super simple to install and play directly on Steam Deck and desktop Linux. There's a couple of points I want to touch on though in this video. First of all, for people who are interested in playing it, you need to make sure that you use Proton Experimental. You'll do this from the Properties and Compatibility menu, tick the box and select Proton Experimental from the drop-down. This is because Proton Experimental has a dedicated fix for Overwatch 2 where you might find that control inputs just disappear during the game, and Valve actually patched that in Proton in early July. Back then, I thought it was curious why Valve were specifically calling out a fix for a game not on Steam, but obviously we now have our answer. As for how it runs, well, we've been able to play it for a long time already. Overwatch and Overwatch 2 ran great on Steam Deck and desktop Linux anyway, as you could just install Battle.net through various ways, which I've shown in previous videos. Having it on Steam just makes it that little bit easier though. There's less third-party launcher annoyances to deal with, and I think honestly Blizzard should get a bonus point here for not making it run through an external launcher like EA, Ubisoft and others do, with proper Steam integration like achievements, friends list, all of it. This is exactly how it should be done, and I do hope we see more like this from Blizzard. Now, I've been playing Overwatch 2 on the medium graphics preset with no other changes apart from setting Proton Experimental, and overall it has been running very well. I'm showing you my settings on the screen here now. Just pause the video if you need to. The only change just for the video is 720p, that's just for the recording. Now with those medium settings, it looks really good on the Steam Deck screen and it has been sticking to mostly 60 frames a second, apart from a few times where shaders need to be built it doesn't have yet, and where it goes to the replay and respawn, it drops a little bit, but then it goes straight back up to 60 frames a second when you're actually controlling your character again. Overwatch and Overwatch 2 are kinda notorious on Linux systems for the shader stuttering issue, but once again, thanks to it being on Steam, Valve can already build up and send out a shader cache for download. That's one of those things you often see in your Steam downloads. And with the upcoming SteamOS 3.5 release, shader stutter will be less of an issue due to a major graphics driver upgrade that's coming. The Steam release has been overshadowed by this really big black cloud though, which is the Steam user reviews. It has become the #1 most poorly reviewed game on Steam. Overwatch 2 is officially the Steam champion of pissing people off. There's many reasons for this though, and plenty of them are absolutely valid, but it also hasn't stopped a lot of people playing it. The game actually reached over 75,000 people playing it a few days ago, and since then it's regularly seen a peak player count of around 60,000 people, so despite all the mass complaints, there's a lot of people playing it. So what is going on with the Steam reviews? Well, a large majority of them are actually Chinese players, because a good while ago Blizzard ended their partnership with NetEase, and so a bunch of the games were no longer available officially to play in China. But with it now being on Steam, people in China are just using VPNs to access the international version of Steam to leave their reviews, noting their annoyance at what happened. That's only one part of it though. The other side of it is just how badly Blizzard have handled the sequel, which really feels like a sequel with nothing but name. The cancellation of the PvE element, that was probably the biggest selling point with it, but now it has a small amount of PvE, but you have to pay extra. They've moved it from a normal paid game to a free-to-play live service full of microtransactions and a battle pass, actual heroes stuck behind a battle pass as well. The list of missteps just goes on and on. There's lots of people blaming the developers, but the reality is that these kinds of decisions are management and above. That said, I get why people are frustrated as hell with it, and I agree with them on many points, but personally, I still love the gameplay, and I'm no doubt going to play plenty more of it. I love the world, the characters, the game modes, the action, but Blizzard really need to clean up their house. So if you don't want to play it, I absolutely don't blame you. There's thousands of other games on Steam. I'm not sure if I'll play a lot of this on Steam Deck though, because controller versus the majority of people playing with a mouse puts you at such a disadvantage, especially in a game as fast as this. And I don't use the gyro on the Steam Deck because it just confuses my brain, but the option is there and it works well overall. Likely this is one where I will spend the majority of my time with it on desktop Linux, where Ubuntu runs it perfectly fine. On Ultra Details here, as just a quick clip, it's been pretty much smooth as silk, as you can see in the clip, which I accidentally recorded at 720p instead of at 1080p. Whoops, but never mind. You can see clear enough though, the desktop performance is absolutely fine. There's no issues, which is pretty much expected really, since it has been running for a long time now through Wine and Proton. So overall, across Steam Deck and desktop Linux, Overwatch 2 is looking good. It's running great. Just make sure you do use Proton Experimental. Anyway, that's it for now. This video was super delayed due to Baldur's Gate 3 sucking all of my time. Apologies. And yeah, I'm going to go back and play some more, so I'll see you later.